Trump thought he had an easy chance to hit back at Obama during a White House press conference, but within hours Obama responded so sharply that the attention turned against Trump himself. Barack Obama failed. We're cleaning up his mess, Trump declared, leaning into the microphone in the East Room, jabbing his finger for emphasis. The reporters shifted, some scribbling quickly, others exchanging looks. Everyone knew that line would dominate the headlines. It was a warm Washington afternoon, and the event was supposed to focus on infrastructure, roads, bridges, and transit projects, but as usual, Trump veered off script. The mood changed the instant he mentioned Obama. His voice grew harder, his expression tighter, and tension filled the room. You look at the numbers, you look at the deal's disasters, Trump sighed, brushing the air with his hand. Obama left this country weaker, vulnerable. Now we're fixing it. My team is fixing it. Nobody else could. Cameras snapped in bursts. CNN's Jim Acosta and NBC's Kristen Welker exchanged knowing glances. They recognized this wasn't just another offhand comment. Trump wasn't joking about polls or mocking rivals. He was trying, in front of the nation, to rewrite history. Then a reporter spoke up. Mr. President, are you saying? A reporter asked if he was blaming former President Obama for the lack of infrastructure funding. Trump leaned forward, lips pressed tight. Absolutely, 100%. He had 8 years and didn't get it done. He left America behind, folks, and now we're catching up. The room fell into that heavy kind of silence that isn't really quiet, just waiting. A camera lens hummed as it adjusted. Someone coughed in the back row. Then Trump pressed on. Look, Barack Obama was great at talking, nice speeches, plenty of words. But when it came to action, nothing. My administration is about action. We're rebuilding. We're winning. Reporters scratched faster across their notepads, some smirking as they realized what was happening. This wasn't about infrastructure anymore, it was about legacy. Trump was casting himself as the one fixing things, and Obama as the one who failed. Across the country, TVS lit up living rooms, diners, and office break rooms. Supporters saw it as fuel. Critics saw it as yet another jab at a man they still respected. Either way, everyone knew Obama wouldn't stay silent. By the time the event ended, the internet was buzzing. Clips were spreading, hashtags trending, and cable shows prepping panels for primetime debates. One headline from San Diego summed it up. Trump blames Obama for nation's problems again. Back at the White House, aides scrambled. Some tried spinning it as Trump's strong commitment to rebuilding, while others privately admitted he may have just lit a fuse. Unlike most of Trump's rivals, Obama still had a voice people paid attention to. And when he spoke, the country listened. In a quiet Georgetown office, one of Obama's former aides scrolled through the clips on her phone, shaking her head. She muttered, "He went there again." She knew her old boss well enough to sense what was coming. Obama didn't rush to respond, but when he did, his words carried weight. Trump, however, seemed unfazed. After leaving the East Room, he walked out with his usual swagger, chatting casually with staff. If he hadn't just taken a swing at his predecessor. The cameras trailed him until the doors shut, but his remarks lingered like smoke across the country. Conversations sparked immediately. In Spokane, a retired teacher sighed, setting down her coffee. That man can't go a week without mentioning Obama. In a Dallas barbershop, men debated whether Trump had a point about infrastructure. Online, the clips looped nonstop, igniting comment wars that stretched late into the night. What Trump didn't realize was how fast his words would rebound. While he was attacking, Obama's team was already preparing a response that would flip the story. But first, the world had to watch the ripple effect unfold. Within hours, television studios scrambled, producers in Los Angeles and Miami rushed to get the footage on air before rivals. By evening, nearly every major network led with one headline: Trump had gone after Obama hard. On CNN, Anderson Cooper played the clip repeatedly, Trump's voice booming, his finger stabbing the air in slow motion. Cooper turned to his panel and asked, "Is this a fair assessment or pure political theater?" Meanwhile, on Fox News, Sean Hannity applauded Trump for telling it like it is, flashing a banner that read Trump blasts Obama's failed legacy. Guests clashed. One called it necessary truth. Another said it was an obsession distracting from real problems. In homes across America, viewers picked sides. Some nodded, convinced Obama had promised too much and delivered too little. Others groaned, frustrated that Trump still couldn't resist dragging his predecessor back into the spotlight. Online, the fire spread even faster. On Twitter, #Obama vs Trump shot into the top 5 trends. A viral post from a Detroit college student read, "Trump blames Obama for everything. Next he'll say Obama invented potholes." Within hours, it had hundreds of thousands of likes and retweets. Meanwhile, a veteran in Florida tweeted support. "He's right, Obama left the military weak. Trump's rebuilding it." But this wasn't the usual back and forth. Something about Trump's jab felt sharper, more direct. People weren't just watching, they were waiting, almost daring Obama to respond. In a Philadelphia dorm, students huddled around a laptop. "If Obama claps back, it's game over," one said. His roommate grinned. "Yeah, but will he? He usually plays it cool." Pundits fill the airwaves. On MSNBC, Rachel Maddow showed numbers that undercut Trump's claims. She looked into the camera and said, "What's fascinating isn't the accuracy, it's the audacity. Trump's rewriting the story, and Obama can correct it." Late night shows joined in too. On The Late Show, Stephen Colbert joked, "Today Trump accused Obama of ruining infrastructure. Next he'll blame him for traffic on I-95. The audience erupted, but everyone knew the jokes were covering something deeper. Newsrooms scrambled. At the Washington Post, an editor told a reporter to call Obama's office. At the Los Angeles Times, staff debated whether he'd even reply, but most suspected he would. In a small Madison cafe, a couple sipped coffee and pie. "Obama doesn't need to get angry," the husband said. "All he has to do is lay out the facts and Trump will look foolish." His wife nodded. "That's why people still respect him." He explains he doesn't shout. By evening, TV screens were filled with split panels of experts. The talk wasn't about roads or bridges anymore, it was about credibility. Who carried more weight? The sitting president with bold claims, or the former president who's calm? Precision often silenced critics. One PBS analyst compared it to a man running into a storm without an umbrella. His co-host added, "If Obama responds, the contrast will be glaring." Trump thrives on chaos, Obama thrives on precision. It's not a fair fight. Across living rooms, bars, and break rooms, people waited, not just hoping Obama would respond, but expecting it. This wasn't the first time Trump had gone after Obama, but this time felt different, as if Obama might finally strike back. The stage was set, Trump had thrown the punch, and the country waited to see if Obama would answer. When he finally did, it wasn't with a punch at all. It was something sharper, calm, steady, and far more devastating. At first, there was nothing. Hours went by as cable networks replayed Trump's jab on loop, yet Obama's team stayed quiet. No tweets, no press release, no leaks, just silence. And that silence became part of the story. By mid-morning the next day, the response arrived. Obama didn't step up to a podium or fire off insults. Instead, his office released a 3-page statement measured, precise, and packed with facts. At 10:14 a.m., it hit newsroom inboxes across the country. Within minutes, anchors were reading it live on air. President Obama is proud of the progress made during his administration. It began. From the largest infrastructure investment since the Eisenhower era to bipartisan efforts that modernized America's roads and bridges, the record speaks for itself. The statement then drilled down into details. The Recovery Act of 2009 had provided $48 billion for transportation projects covering more than 40,000 miles of road and nearly 27,000 bridges. Independent studies and bipartisan commissions had confirmed that the groundwork laid during those years made later progress possible. Rather than accuse, Obama cited. Instead of raising his voice, he lowered the temperature. Piece by piece, his words dismantled Trump's claim. And in doing so, he reminded Americans of something they'd almost forgotten: his ability to command the room without even being in it. On MSNBC, a producer whispered off camera as the statement scrolled across the teleprompter. He's cutting Trump off at the knees without even saying his name. In Atlanta, a local station read excerpts over the radio. An Uber passenger smiled faintly at the sound. "That's Obama," she said. Cool, calm facts over noise. But the statement wasn't all policy and numbers. Tucked inside was a subtle sting. It was the kind of line that sinks in only after you hear it twice. Leadership is not measured by how loudly one speaks or how often one points fingers. It is measured by the ability to unite, to listen, and to act with clarity. Those words cut deeper than any insult could. Social media erupted. A high school teacher in Cleveland tweeted, "Obama didn't even need to shout, he just reminded US what leadership sounds like." Within hours, it had gone viral. Inside the White House, the mood shifted fast. Staffers huddled around TVS, uneasy. "This is bad, really bad," one aide muttered. Another leaned against the wall, silent, arms folded. For all of Trump's chaos at the podium, Obama had once again managed to change the conversation calmly, without ever raising his voice. Journalists moved quickly. The New York Times ran a side-by-side breakdown of Trump's claims and Obama's record under the headline, "Blunt Trump's blame meets Obama's receipts." Politico noted that Obama had just reminded America that leadership is as much about tone as it is about results. Even late-night comedy turned serious. Trevor Noah looked into the camera and said, "Trump shouted, Obama explained, and once again, facts proved louder than noise." The audience applauded, not just for the punchline, but for the truth in it. What made Obama's response stand out wasn't only the facts, it was the restraint. He could have gone after Trump's failures: COVID, staff turnover, foreign policy blunders, but he didn't. He kept it narrow, precise, like a boxer landing one clean jab instead of swinging wildly. In a coffee shop in Springfield, Missouri, a community organizer showed the statement to friends as muted TV coverage played in the background. "This is the difference," she said quietly. "Trump thrives on anger, Obama thrives on patience." That's why his words hit harder. By the evening news cycle, Obama's response had already eclipsed Trump's attack. Clips of Trump's jabbing finger now ran side by side with Obama's calm, steady words. The contrast was striking. A CNN anchor put it plainly during a panel: "Trump gave us sound and fury. Obama gave us receipts and reflection. Which one do you think Americans will remember tomorrow?" From that moment, the story turned into a split-screen showdown. By the next morning, TV screens across the country carried the same image: Trump on one side, animated and frustrated, Obama on the other, his statement displayed neatly on screen and read aloud. The comparison was brutal. One looked heated and erratic, the other calm and precise. It wasn't just national outlets. Local stations from St. Louis to Albuquerque to Portland aired the clips back to back, letting viewers decide for themselves. And most did. Online, the contrast became almost theatrical. TikTok users said Trump's rant to heavy, chaotic music, then cut to Obama's words over gentle piano. A viral YouTube video titled "Trump vs. Obama, Words vs. Facts" racked up over a million views in 2 days. The top comment read, "One man yells, the other explains. The difference is night and day." What made it hit so hard wasn't only the style, it was the substance. Town halls and radio shows began unpacking the details. On NPR, a host asked a transportation analyst to verify Obama's numbers. The analyst confirmed nearly all of them. Yes, those projects funded under the Recovery Act were real. They're still in use today: highways, bridges, rail upgrades. The data is clear. Meanwhile, Trump's sweeping claims had little solid ground beneath them. Some of Trump's own former staff even undercut his claims. A resurfaced clip showed one of his transportation secretaries praising Obama-era investments, directly contradicting Trump's new narrative. The video aired on Morning Joe, where the hosts leaned back and laughed. He walked right into this. Joe Scarborough said, "For ordinary Americans, the side-by-side comparisons carried real weight." A retired nurse in Tulsa told a reporter, "When I see Trump yelling, I get tired. When I hear Obama's words, I feel like someone's actually thinking." That feeling spread across Facebook posts, dinner tables, and group chats. Even younger audiences, usually detached from infrastructure debates, picked it up. A college sophomore in Boise stitched the two clips together on TikTok with the caption, "Leadership isn't volume, it's clarity." Tens of thousands shared it, pushing the moment beyond politics and into everyday culture. Trump's allies rushed to defend him. On Fox and Friends, one host insisted the comparisons were unfair editing. President Trump is a fighter. He speaks directly to the American people, not through polished statements. But the optics were clear. The louder Trump grew, the more Obama's composure stood out. By Wednesday afternoon, late-night comedy piled on. Jimmy Kimmel played Trump's rant, then cut to Obama's statement in his own voice. Kimmel raised his eyebrows and deadpanned, "One of these guys sounds like a president." The audience erupted not just at the joke, but at the truth it underscored. On a work site in Phoenix, union workers gathered around their phones. One shook his head after watching the clips. "You can tell who's working with facts and who's working with feelings." Another smirked, "Yeah, but feelings don't build bridges." The group laughed, but the point stuck. Obama's numbers gave a sense of solid ground, while Trump's fury felt like quicksand. The media saw the story instantly. The Associated Press headline read, "Side by side, Obama's steady words versus Trump's fiery attack." The article began, "In American politics, contrast is everything, and this week, contrast spoke louder than claims." By now, the comparisons were everywhere. Whether you were grabbing lunch in an Omaha diner or waiting for a flight in Phoenix, the same clips played on the overhead TVs. People didn't even need the sound, the body language alone told the story. Trump slicing the air with his hand. Obama, his words printed neatly on the screen. The effect grew with every replay, every meme, every late-night joke, every local headline. Obama looked steady, Trump looked rattled. And once people saw it, they couldn't unsee it. But behind the polished edits and endless chatter, another drama unfolded: the chaos inside Trump's own team. The cameras were off, but the storm inside the West Wing raged on. The morning after Obama's statement went public, senior staff gathered in the Roosevelt Room. Phones buzzed constantly, screens lighting up with headlines, tweets, and late-night clips replaying the side-by-side shots. The silence in the room was heavy. Finally, Press Secretary Linda Harrington snapped it. Tossing her phone onto the table, screen still glowing, she muttered, "We're getting hammered out there." Every network is running Obama's statement like it's gospel. He didn't even show his face, and he's already winning across. From her, Chief of Staff Mark Reynolds leaned back, rubbing his temple. "We knew he'd respond," he sighed. "We just didn't expect him to go full accountant on us." Every number he dropped checks out. That's what's killing us. It's not the tone, it's the receipts. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, flipped through a folder of talking points. "We can pivot," he said. "Shift the focus back to the future, highlight what we're doing now, not what he claims happened before." The president needs to be on offense, not defense. But Kellyanne Conway, seated at the corner of the table, wasn't convinced. Tapping her pen against her notebook, she replied, "We've tried pivoting before. The problem is, he won't let go. He keeps circling back to Obama. It's personal for him, and when it's personal, it shows." The room fell silent because she was right. Trump's fixation on Obama wasn't just politics. It was something deeper, an obsession he couldn't drop. And the more he leaned into it, the easier it became for Obama to claim the higher ground. A communications aide slid her laptop forward. On the screen was a viral meme racing across Twitter. A split-screen image of Trump shouting at a podium beside Obama calmly sipping water. The caption read, "Noise versus poise." It already had 500,000 likes. That's what people are seeing, the aide explained. And the more they see it, the more it sticks. Just then, Trump stormed into the room. Conversation died. Instantly, wearing his usual navy suit and slightly crooked red tie, he looked agitated. "What's this I'm hearing about Obama making me look bad?" He snapped, "Fake news, total fake news. We're winning, you've seen the rallies. People love what we're doing." Press Secretary Harrington tried to steady her voice. "Mr. President, it's not just about the rallies. The comparisons are everywhere. Networks are showing his statement against your press conference." The contrast, Trump cut her off, waving his hand. "Yeah, contrast, they love him. They've always loved him. Doesn't matter what he says. I could cure cancer and they'd still ask, but what about Obama?" His voice rose with every word, filling the room. Chief of Staff Reynolds leaned forward carefully. "Sir, the point isn't that they love him. The point is people notice the difference. He's calm, you're passionate. That's not always in our favor," Reynolds said carefully. Trump glared, eyes narrowing. "Passionate is good. People want strong, not weak. Obama was weak." "I'm strong." The room froze. No one dared argue, but the silence carried its own truth. Obama's restraint had cornered Trump. Every angry attack looked like noise. Every measured reply from Obama looked like leadership. Later that afternoon, Harrington and Conway stepped aside near the West Wing entrance. "We're running out of options," Harrington whispered. "If he keeps pushing this, it'll dominate the news cycle for days. We can't win the comparison." Conway's voice dropped. "Then we don't fight the comparison. We redirect. Create a new headline, something big enough to bury this. And if you won't move on," Harrington asked. Conway exhaled slowly. "Then he'll keep swinging at shadows. And Obama will keep looking untouchable." Meanwhile, in Obama's circle, the mood was almost amused. Aides chuckled as they scrolled through headlines. One longtime advisor leaned back in his chair and said, "We didn't even need him to show up." One statement and Trump's already spinning in circles. The irony was clear. Trump had wanted to remind Americans of Obama's failures. Instead, he reminded them of Obama's strengths, but the real twist wasn't in what was said privately, it was in how Obama handled the aftermath. Quietly, strategically, with allies stepping in to amplify his words. He didn't rush to double down. That was never his style. While Trump's team scrambled in the West Wing, Obama spent the evening in his Georgetown office, meeting calmly with a few close advisors. No shouting, no frantic notes, just a steady discussion about what had happened and whether anything more even needed to be done. One aide, policy veteran Carter Jennings, leaned over the polished table. The numbers spoke for themselves. She said, "You don't need to add more. The media already has their story." Obama sat back, arms loosely folded, listening the way he often did, with patience, giving space for others to weigh in. After a pause, he finally spoke. "The danger," he said quietly, "is that if I keep answering, I become part of the circus. He thrives on that. The more back and forth, the more noise. That's his game." Advisor David Liu chuckled. "Except you didn't play his game this time. You played yours, facts, calm, perspective, and it landed harder than any insult ever." "Could?" Obama nodded slightly, glancing out the window at the Georgetown streetlights. "That's the point. If the truth is strong enough, it doesn't need volume. It just needs space." Outside that room, his allies were already amplifying the message. Former cabinet members hit cable news shows, citing specific projects from his presidency: highways in Ohio, bridges in Minnesota, transit upgrades in Arizona. Each example reinforced his statement without requiring him to say another word. In Phoenix, former Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood went on local radio. "I was there. I signed off on those projects. They were real, they mattered. The facts are on the table." The clip spread quickly, adding even more weight to Obama's side. At the same time, younger surrogates took to social media, former aides, grassroots organizers, even celebrities posting graphics of Obama's accomplishments under the tagline, "Receipts don't shout, they prove." The phrase caught fire, soon becoming its own hashtag. In San Francisco, a nonprofit leader who had once worked with Obama texted a friend, "He doesn't need to lift a finger. The country's doing the talking for him." Obama himself seemed almost detached from the frenzy. That evening, over dinner with Michelle and a few close friends, the conversation drifted to their daughters, future travel plans, and a new book project. At one point, Michelle teased him, saying, Michelle smiled across the table, "You know you've still got it, right?" One statement and he's spiraling. Obama shook his head. "It's not about me, it's about the record. If people see it clearly, they can judge for themselves." But the reality was obvious. The contrast was shaping public opinion. Even people who usually ignored politics were talking about it. In an Omaha diner, a waitress poured coffee for two truckers debating the story. "Man, Obama barely says anything and suddenly he's everywhere again," one said. His buddy shrugged. "That's what makes it work. He doesn't need to scream, he just drops the facts and walks away." Back in Washington, journalists caught on. Politico wrote, "Obama's silence is as strategic as his words." Every time Trump swings, Obama sidesteps, letting facts and public reaction do the heavy lifting, and that was the essence of it. Obama didn't fight for airtime, he let it come to him. His restraint became the story, amplifying the sense that he was steady while Trump was frantic. By Friday morning, editorials were everywhere. The Boston Globe declared, "Obama reminds US that leadership is not about decibels, but direction." Trump's attacks have given Obama the chance to look presidential again without holding office. For Trump's team, it was a nightmare. The calmer Obama appeared, the more his reputation grew. The angrier Trump became, the more he looked like he was losing control, and the fire was only spreading. The media knew ratings gold when they saw it, and they weren't letting go. By the weekend, the story was impossible to escape. Pumping gas in Reno, waiting at the airport in Orlando, or grabbing a booth in Wichita, every screen played the same loop. Trump's fiery attack versus Obama's steady response. On CNN, the Chiron read, "Trump versus Obama, two presidencies, two styles." A panel spent 20 minutes breaking the footage down frame by frame. A body language expert pointed out the contrast. Trump leaned forward aggressively, while Obama's written words carried authority without so much as a raised eyebrow. "It's the difference between confrontation and conviction," the expert said. Fox News took a different angle. Their headline blared, "Obama strikes back, but is it fair?" Hosts argued over whether a former president should even respond. He should stay out of the spotlight, one guest insisted. Another countered, "If you're attacked, you have the right to respond, and he did it with facts, not theatrics." MSNBC leaned fully into the comparison with a segment titled "Receipts versus Rhetoric." Rachel Maddow told viewers, "You can dislike Obama's politics, you can critique his policies, but you cannot deny his statement was detailed, sourced, and factual." The president's response, meanwhile, had no such foundation. Comedy shows feasted on the moment. Saturday Night Live opened with an actor playing Trump, ranting incoherently about potholes, while Obama calmly read a bedtime story filled with statistics. The sketch ended with fake Obama tucking the audience in and saying, "And that's how facts work, children." The crowd erupted, but behind the laughs, a serious question began surfacing in editorials nationwide. What did it say about American leadership when a former president outshined the sitting one with a single statement? The Dallas Morning News summed it up. Obama has become Trump's shadow opponent not because he seeks it, but because Trump keeps resurrecting him. And each time the shadow grows taller, social media only fueled the fire. On Twitter, side-by-side edits went viral daily. One clip showed Trump shouting over reporters with the caption noise, before cutting to Obama's calm words under the caption notes. It drew over 12 million views in 3 days. On TikTok, creators joined in. A young woman in Seattle filmed herself reacting, covering her ears dramatically during Trump's rant, then mouthing along to Obama's statement. Finally, some sense, her video drew thousands of comments. From across the political spectrum, even those reluctant to admit it found Obama's delivery more credible. In newsrooms, producers knew they had struck gold. One NBC executive reportedly told staff, "Run it again, people can't get enough of the contrast." And so they did, over and over. By Sunday morning, the weekly political shows were consumed. With the story on Meet the Press, Chuck Todd asked a panel of senators about the clash. A Republican from Indiana defended Trump. The president is passionate about fixing America, but a Democrat from Colorado shot back, "Passion is fine, but passion without facts is just noise." Obama reminded us what leadership looks like. Even pastors weighed in. In Birmingham, a preacher told his congregation, "Some shout to be heard. Others speak softly, yet their words move nations. Which kind of leader do you want to follow?" The church fell quiet, heads nodding in agreement. For everyday Americans, the constant coverage became something bigger, a tale of two men who embodied two very different versions of the presidency. At a family barbecue in Mesa, Arizona, one man told his relatives, "Say what you want, but Obama talks like an adult. Trump talks like, well, Trump." His teenage niece added, "And adults are supposed to be in charge." By Sunday night, the mood was clear. Trump had tried to brand Obama as a failure, but the more the clips replayed, the more Obama came across as the adult in the room. The most telling shift, though, wasn't just in headlines, it was in the quiet ways people began voicing where their trust leaned. By Monday morning, the media frenzy had settled into something deeper, a shift in how Americans were defining leadership. Pollsters caught it first. A Columbus-based research firm released a quick survey showing 62% of respondents felt Obama's statement came across as more presidential than Trump's press conference. The firm's director put it bluntly, that number includes independents and even some Republicans. The contrast hit harder than expected, but the numbers were only part of the story. The real impact wasn't in headlines, it showed up in coffee shops, factory floors, classrooms, and backyards across America. In a diner outside Topeka, Kansas, two farmers ate scrambled eggs and drank black coffee as the news played. "I'm no Obama fan," one said, adjusting his cap, "but I gotta admit he laid it out cleaner than Trump did. Trump's always yelling, Obama just explained." His friend frowned but nodded. "Facts are facts," he muttered. In Detroit, workers at an auto parts plant crowded around a break room TV as the clips played yet again. A woman wiped grease from her hands and shook her head. "You can't argue with numbers. I don't care who you vote for, he had the data. Trump didn't." Her coworker added, "When you're building cars, you want data, not shouting." The group laughed, but the truth hung in the air. Even high schoolers weighed in. In Fresno, a civics teacher asked her class what they thought of the clash. A sophomore raised her hand. Trump sounded mad, Obama sounded smart. "If you're trying to convince people, smart wins." Another leaned back and said, "Yeah, one sounded like a president, the other like a reality show." Laughter rippled, but the point stuck. The ripple spread to community centers and barbershops. In a church basement in Indianapolis, volunteers packing food boxes talked between tasks. One man put it simply, "Shouting only works so long. At some point, you've got to show what you've done." Obama showed receipts, Trump didn't. Social media echoed the same mood. On Facebook, a grandmother in Oklahoma posted, "I don't usually write about politics, but watching Obama reminded me of when leaders cared about details." Her post drew hundreds of comments from friends and neighbors. On Instagram, college students shared memes with captions like, "Guess which one looks like a leader?" By Tuesday, the polls confirmed the chatter. A nationwide Pew survey showed trust in Trump's handling of infrastructure had dropped 8 points, while confidence in Obama's legacy on the issue had climbed nearly 10. For a former president to outshine a sitting one in current polling was rare. The White House was rattled. And it wasn't just comedians amplifying the moment, community leaders were using it as a lesson. In Charlotte, North Carolina, a youth basketball coach stopped practice to show his players the clips. "This is what I mean," he told them. Don't let emotions run the game, stay calm, stick to the facts, and you'll win just like Obama did here. The teenagers nodded, the point landing instantly. Even some Trump supporters admitted quietly that the exchange didn't play well. At a truck stop in Oklahoma City, a man in a red cap told a reporter off the record, "I like Trump, I voted for him, but he shouldn't keep going after Obama, makes him look small. Obama's not even in office anymore." That was the heart of it. The more Trump attacked, the more Obama's restraint looked presidential, and the quieter Obama stayed. After his statement, the louder his message seemed to echo. By midweek, commentators were calling it the clapback heard around the country, not because it was fiery, but because it captured something people had been feeling but hadn't yet put into words. That calm leadership was missing. But Trump couldn't let it go. While his team urged him to pivot to an upcoming event in Pittsburgh about manufacturing jobs, Trump fumed over headlines, polls, and memes. The idea of Obama having the last word not at him, he insisted on responding directly, forcefully and on camera. By Wednesday afternoon, the press pool gathered in the Rose Garden braced themselves. Trump walked to the podium, gripping his notes but barely looking at them. His jaw was tight, his voice already raised. "Barack Obama," he began. "He's out there acting like he did something great. He didn't. He failed this country. Everybody knows it." Reporters leaned in. Trump was already heated. Instead of highlighting job growth, he launched into a tirade. He talks about bridges and roads we're the ones actually building. His administration, nothing but words, lots of talking, no action. "I've done more in 3 years than he did in 8. People tell me this all the time." Then came the moment that would haunt him. Trump, without realizing it, misstated a key fact. He claimed that not a single major highway project started under Obama had ever been completed. It wasn't true. Within minutes, fact-checkers from the Associated Press and Reuters fired back with examples. The rebuilding of I-35 in Minnesota, the expansion of US 93 in Nevada, the modernization of Amtrak lines along the Northeast Corridor. The press corps smelled blood. "Mr. President," one reporter shouted, "are you aware of Recovery Act projects completed in 2011 and 2012? Trump waved it off. "Fake news, totally fake. They're lying." Everybody knows it, but the footage told a different story. By that evening, networks were rolling video of gleaming bridges, widened highways, and ribbon cuttings where Obama had once stood with governors and mayors. The split screen was brutal. On MSNBC, the chyron read, "Trump denies bridges Americans drive on every day." On CBS, Norah O'Donnell said calmly, "The president's claim simply doesn't match the facts," before cutting to footage of Nevada. Residents cruising down a highway expanded under Obama. One man laughed from behind the wheel. "So I guess this road doesn't exist." Late-night shows piled on. Trevor Noah joked, "Trump said Obama never finished a highway project." Which is weird because I'm pretty sure I drove on one yesterday. The audience roared. But what hit hardest wasn't the comedy, it was everyday people acknowledging what they could see with their own eyes. In Des Moines, a small business owner shook his head watching the clip. "You can argue politics all day, but you can't argue with the road under your tires. That's real." That's proof. Inside the White House, staffers buried their heads in their hands. "We begged him not to go there," Press Secretary Harrington muttered. Another aide groaned. Now it's Obama's word against actual asphalt. The backlash snowballed. Twitter lit up with the hashtag the road exists. People posted photos of highways, overpasses, and train stations with captions like "built under Obama." I guess we're imagining it. Celebrities joined in, amplifying the joke. By Thursday morning, the damage was clear. Editorials blasted Trump for trying to fight reality. USA Today wrote, "Presidents can argue opinions. They cannot erase concrete." The Boston Globe put it even sharper. Trump swung at Obama and hit a bridge instead. Obama, true to form, stayed silent. He didn't need to respond. His allies didn't either. The images of real infrastructure projects spoke louder than anything he could write. His silence became its own strategy. Anka summed it up: Obama doesn't even need to respond. His work, still visible across the country, is doing the talking for him. For Trump, it was the worst outcome, not just being contradicted by Obama, but by the lived experience of millions of Americans. Every highway driven, every bridge crossed became a reminder of the truth he had tried to deny, the real weight of. The moment came in the days after, when people began reflecting not just on the clash itself, but on what it revealed about leadership, truth, and the kind of voices the nation wanted to trust. By the end of the week, the story had grown far beyond a fight between two presidents. It wasn't just about infrastructure or even partisan politics. It had become a mirror, showing Americans to starkly different styles of leadership and forcing them to ask which they valued more. On one side was Donald Trump, loud, combative, unwilling to back down even when facts stood against him. On the other was Barack Obama, measured, deliberate, letting evidence and calm delivery do the work. For millions, the contrast wasn't just interesting. It was clarifying. In Philadelphia, a father driving his kids to school listened to both clips on the radio. After a pause, his 10-year-old son asked, "Dad, why does one guy sound mad and the other sound like a teacher?" The father sighed, "That's the difference, son. One's trying to win an argument, the other's trying to explain." In a small Iowa town, a group of retirees debated it over pancakes. One lifelong Republican admitted, "I don't agree with Obama on much, but you can't deny he makes sense. He doesn't lose his cool, that's what sticks." Another added, "Maybe that's what leadership should be. Calm in the storm, not adding to it." Editorial pages framed it the same way. The Los Angeles Times wrote, "Leadership is not measured by the volume of one's voice, but by the weight of one's words." In this exchange, Obama proved that truth delivered without anger still resonates. The Miami Herald was blunter. Trump tried to drag Obama into the mud, but Obama stayed on higher ground, and from there, his words carried farther. The lesson spread beyond politics. Coaches, teachers, and pastors began using it as a real-world example of composure versus chaos. In Denver, a teacher told her, "Class, you can shout your way through a test, but it won't get you the answers. Calm thinking will." In Nashville, a minister closed his sermon with, "The loudest voice is not always the wisest. Sometimes the truth is soft, steady, and undeniable, even online." While the country shouted itself hoarse, Obama's calm approach proved the opposite. A YouTube commentator put it best in a viral video: "Trump gave us fire, Obama gave us water. Guess which one put the other out?" The clearest sign of the shift came in the numbers. By Friday, Gallup reported that 58% of Americans thought Obama had handled himself more presidential in the clash, compared to just 34% for Trump. For a sitting president to lose that kind of perception battle to his predecessor was rare and revealing. Inside the White House, aides tried to spin the story, but behind closed doors they admitted the damage. One insider told a reporter he walked right into it and Obama barely had to lift a finger. That was the final irony. Trump had set out to brand Obama a failure. Instead, he reminded the nation of Obama's strengths: patience, attention to detail, and composure under pressure. The attack backfired, exposing more of Trump's flaws than Obama's. For Obama, the lesson was simple: let the truth do the heavy lifting. For Trump, it was a painful reminder that pride and stubbornness can turn a small jab into a self-inflicted wound, and for America, it became a lesson about leadership itself, that calm beats chaos and facts outlast fury. People may not remember every statistic Obama cited or every word Trump shouted, but they remembered the feeling. One voice left them anxious, the other left them thinking. And that, more than anything, is the kind of leadership people crave, not the loudest, but the one that stands tallest. So if there's one lesson to take from this clash, it's this: truth doesn't need to scream to be heard. It just needs to stand firm. And if you believe calm leadership matters and that facts should always outweigh noise, make sure to subscribe, because these stories aren't just about politics. They're about what it means to lead with clarity in a world full of chaos.